Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2734, Doubleshot 2628. Got two X-Men trades. Now, this stuff in this trade here, I've already reviewed already, but I'm still celebrating 20 years of me rereading comics. So, let's talk about the comic that came out the very year I started reading comics. That being Astonishing X-Men. This is the Modern Epic Collection, Volume 1, Gifted, which collects the first 12 issues of the Astonishing X-Men ongoing series. 12 issues of a 65-issue comic. Actually, was a 75-issue comic book, I think it was. Started in 2004, was not finished until 2013 to release 70 issues. The reason for this was because this book had a publication problem. After these opening 12 issues, for some reason, it took 6 freaking months in the issue release. This thing started in 2004. Joss Whedon's final issue was not released until 2007. The very year, the Messiah War happened, and the book went hiatus for a year. Yes, it took until Greg Pak writing the book to finally have the book come out on time for a change. Because I don't know what the heck basically was. This book was fantastic, don't get me wrong. The problem is, the publication schedule for this book was terrible throughout most of its run. That was the ultimate really big problem with this book. Its publication schedule. And the fact, for some reason, Marvel adapted this to a motion comic. Yes, seriously. By the way, the creative team is Joss Whedon and John Cassidy. Now, those who are thinking, Joss Whedon, that name sounds familiar. His name behind, did he create some shows? He did. But Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse. He also directed Serenity. He also directed the first two movies and did the theatrical cut for Justice League. He also did a script for Wonder Woman that DC rejected. Yes, the only comic he worked on aside from this for Marvel that I could think of was working on a very brief run for Runaways. And he also was a co-writer on I think it was seasons 9, 10, I think it was just 9 and 10 about Vampire Slayer, the comic that was a continuation TV show. And I think that was it, because he didn't write any comics. So this is coming after the events of Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. Yep, so Cyclops and Frost are a couple. Okay, so the book starts out basically Kitty Pryde coming back. I believe this is just after her time in Extreme X-Men wrapped up. Yes, I believe so. Yes, they had wrapped up her time in that book, and she was late, and she has disagreement with Frost, like, you're late. Try to put my clothes back on. And, so here's the team basically to start with. It is Cyclops, Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde, Beast, and later on, Wolverine gets into a fight with Cyclops over the fact he's basically with Emma Frost, who they started this right after Jean Grey had just died. And of course, they said the argument by have them sitting in a danger room with basically staying on stuff for Hawaii. Now, the opening story of this book is quite interesting. So, they go and there's also an introduction to this guy called Ord, a Break World. Who is his character, and why is he here? He is here for pretty much basically to set up the final arc of this run. This arc has 4 story arcs. Yes, 4. This book collects the first 2. The first 2 in here is Gifted, and that was the opening story arc, and then was because the first arc is 6 issues, and then the second arc is 7 through 12. It's called Dangerous. So they debut these brand new costumes when they go out in the field, which of course, of all these costumes, Emma Frost managed to maintain his costume for a pretty long time. Beast didn't finally update his costume until 2008. Wolverine, on the other hand, he managed to keep his costume for a lengthy period of time. As a matter of fact, this is actually a fun fact. My second favorite Wolverine costume. Cyclops managed to keep this costume until 2008, where he updated when he did Manifest Destiny. He had like 3 stripes on his shoulder, and he maintained that look up until AVX. So we're going to fight terrorists, and of course, basically, Cyclops gives some guns to Nick Fury. By the way, this is the White Nick Fury, not Nick Fury Jr., White Nick Fury, where, like, oh yeah, this is the second stuff that was stolen. He didn't exactly go into the information about Ord, and he's like, you been in Manhattan lately? No, because they just finished rebuilding it. Yes, basically what he's referencing is the events of Planet X. What is Planet X? I have discussed already, but here it is again. Planet X is a very controversial storyline that was Grant Morrison's penultimate story arc for his run for New X-Men. A run that basically not only has Manhattan turned to pretzel, but that is not what the controversy is over. Oh no, that was not the issue about the story when Magneto did that. What had happened was that for some strange reason, we had Magneto leading humans into an incinerator. And of course also, Magneto being compared to a Nazi. Yep, a lot of people took umbrage over this particular thing. Yeah, the whole thing with this one was a retcon, where it was Magneto posing as Zorn. Okay. Microphone's working out. But by a different writer, where like this wasn't actually Magneto, this was an imposter Magneto, and the real Magneto showed up Excalibur. Basically, the conclusion of this thing, for writers for years, has been a headache for Magneto. Magneto himself would address this particular confusion in Uncanny X-Men 534.1 to get interviewed by the supporter who got killed off in a later book, who actually was first appeared in pages of the Order, because of course Kieron Gillen created this character for the Order, where it had Magneto going crazy in Manhattan, and he says, that's not me, that's an imposter. And another way this is an imposter was the fact that this Magneto costume that he wore in the comic was his movie costume. Don't know why, but he did. And next time he shows up, he's wearing the classic Jack Kirby costume. So then of course, Psycho retorts back, were you actually watching TV when Genosha was destroyed? That is reference to another story arc. E for Extinction. The story arc where we have the Tri-Sentinel, where he just comes to the Genosha and massacres 16 million mutants. Yes, and Magneto was apparently the only survivor. Actually, 2. There were 2 survivors. Magneto and Emma Frost. Everyone was living now and died. What happened to Tri-Sentinel? I'll reveal that soon. So, basically, they get back to him, and then, of course, well, then they go to his other facility. Well, first, Beast breaks his facility because the story is also a subplot here, revealing a cure for the X gene. And Beast basically contacts the person because it's a friend of his, named Dr. Crow, who this particular character, Kieron Gillen, will later make a part of the X Club. What is the X Club, might ask? It is basically the science group. It's basically the science team trying to fix the problem, trying to undo House of M stuff. So she's creating a cure, gave a sample, like, or thinks that basically that she gave a sample to the X-Men. She's like, no, I gave it to a colleague. Basically, Beast. He didn't be part of the X-Men, yes, but technically she did not give it to the X-Men, gave it to Beast. That's it. And then Beast and Wolverine get to a fight over it. And then they have this funny thing of Danger again. We're like, oh, let's go to basically a girl's bedroom type of thing with these giant stuffed animals. Is so funny. So then, of course, they go to this facility where Ord is, and they fight everything. And, of course, Kitty Pryde goes underground. And then she gets shot at. But then bullets go through her, and then we get, like, dinging on metal. Like, wait, what the heck is going on here? Was the metal behind her? No, it's freaking Colossus who's alive! Which, I guess readers probably at this point probably realize, wait, I thought he died! Which, they, of course, they do bring up the fact about that. Ord resurrected him. Yes, Ord brought back a guy who died. And Kitty Pryde scattered his ashes in Russia, which, of course, she mentioned to him. It's like, oh, thank you for that. Yeah, and after they beat him up, and, of course, they can't arrest him. And Wolverine basically swore like crazy. It was like, diplomatic immunity. He's like, bullcrap. This guy's a freaking murderer, and you basically know it. Oh, he's got diplomatic immunity. And then we have the debut here of Abigail Brand, the director of S.W.O.R.D. She makes a debut here, who Wolverine calls her Hydra Hair because her hair is green, comparing her to his ex-wife Viper. Yes, that is a reference to. Yes, Joss Whedon has references to 2 Grant Morrison stories and a different character in the opening 6 issues. So, they explain a prophecy about someone breaking Break World, which they think it might be some mutant per se. I'm not going to do this more. Then, of course, leading to the Thorn story arc, which we have debut of one new character. So, in this story arc, now, toward the previous story arc, Ord had cured a guy named Wing. Now, in the opening story, we did debut one other character aside from Ord, Abigail Brand. We also debut of the character named Armor, who has been an occasional character in X Comics over the years. At one point, she got separated from her armor power. That was in the Wolverine X-Men relaunch by Jason Tour, where Wayne got cured of his powers because Ord had cure on him. And then Danger somehow convinced him he was flying, and then he crashed. Yeah, and then of course, and then we have a Sentinel apparently in a barn. Yes, we had a Sentinel in a barn near the X-Men Institute, Xavier Institute. How the heck this even got there is never explained. Design-wise, it looks like an old Mark II Sentinel. And of course, destroy that. And of course, they find out, the Danger Room is sentient. So we have this robot who takes female form, who just happens to because she likes it. And then she steals the next jet to go fly to Genosha, where Xavier is. Yep, and Danger decides to do something. I think Joss Whedon must have known about the opening story arc of E for Extinction instead of referencing it. In the story, he basically has Danger bring from the ocean the Tri-Sentinel. Well, it was ever anyways. Which I think is destroyed in this story arc too. And by the end, Xavier just left it on the Genosha. Danger is supposed to gone per se, but I think she's still around. But there's no denying this opening. Oh, by the way, also in issue 6, when Ord tries to get away, we even have Colossus give Wolverine the fastball special, which is so nice. The fact he did that. But for these opening 12 issues, they're really good. And then we take 6 months off for some stupid reason. Give this book a 10 out of 10. Next up we have is the final trade for Immortal X-Men by Kieron Gillen, Volume 4, collecting issues 14 to 18. I did see this at a comic book store, but I didn't buy it. But I figured my local library had it, so why not get it? Yes, this is actually one of the covers for the trade itself. One of the issues himself. Yes, so Kieron Gillen, of course, is the writing with Lucas Wargos is 14-16, Pocket is 15, and 17-18 is one is a rip. So, basically, these issues are the Fall of X issues. Yes, Korra has fallen because Horatius has basically crashed the Hellfire Gala, which caused the death of several characters. One character got revived, I'll talk about it later. And Xavier was left on the island all by himself. Yes, in a way, these issues will lead into, what happened next. So, he's on by himself, and he just sees the version of Sinister and Moira McTaggart. And then we have this really cool cover here, which is a clear homage to Planet of the Apes. So the first issue in here is basically where Sebastian Shaw I think it's when Hellfire Corporation, he's basically injecting himself with something. And someone rather righteous. Yeah, Emma Frost is here too, along with people from the Goons, the Hellfire Club. Mostly put this all about the Hellfire Club in here with a little bit of Charles Xavier, who's on the arm by himself. He's also got a beard. And Destiny, who's here with this is basically leading the surviving mutants into someplace, and that's the first issue. Second issue is basically Selene taking out members of the Eraser's Corporation. You think with the cover, oh, this is focused on Wolverine? A little bit. Like halfway through the book, he does show up here. Yeah. Also, Xavier's less scruffy looking. He looks look at a more defined beard of his. And then we see the return of Apocalypse, who's not going to have a chin beard, has Jean Grey on a leash with Wolverine as a hound. And this leads, by the way, I love issue 16, the Island of Dr. Xavier. That's a nod to the Island of Dr. Moreau. I believe it was a Jules Verne story, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. The first part of this issue focuses on Sebastian Shaw and Selene. And, of course, then we have the debut of the Hellfire Armor, which is basically Sebastian's old version of an Iron Man suit. Yeah, and then, of course, like, it's mostly put just members of the Quiet Council take care of the population of Krakoa. That's most of exactly what these issues are, just trying to take care of what oh, I thought this was, yeah, I think it might be somebody else. And then we have, next issue is called the White Hot Danger Room. This mostly put as a nod to, like, the White Hot Room where Jean Grey was kept in for some person before she was resurrected. Yeah, then Jean Grey, of course, basically is just, of course, dealing with stuff related to Sinister. By the way, here's a little something you might not know. According to Kieron Gillian's run for Immortal X-Men, the Mr. Sinister debuted in Kenny X by Chris Claremont. That was reckoned to be an original clone of Mr. Sinister. The original clone, that is. Yes. Because, of course, apparently this book is all Mr. Sinister. So, and the final issue, which is a cover as a mod to an old X Legacy cover. The final issue, it's like seeing people move along here with the story. Some of Sinister, and we see various stuff, and that's it for this book. This book will lead into 2 miniseries. One is actually finished publishing. The other one has next issue comes out just next week. Those 2 series are the Rise of Powers of X, and the other one is X-Men Forever, which that one's wrapped up. For the final trade to collect issue for this run, section of the bad, I give the book roughly a 9 out of 10. Final thoughts on Immortal X-Men. I definitely think basically Kieron Gillen coming back this book was a good idea, because he has history with the X-Men, and plus I actually like his X-Men run. His original one is one that lasted from, I think it was from like 593, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was, it was 493, excuse me, because his run started just after Ed Berbiger left the book. I think it was like 494, and it lasted to about, no, I think it was, because I remember he was the writer for the relaunch of Kenny X-Men, the first ever relaunch, because I think he took over actually with 530, I think it was, because he took over from, I think it was Mike Carey, I think it was. Now, so far, the only book I read of his that actually that I do agree with people that is not very good is his Young Avengers book. But his other books are pretty good. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he did run with Thor. Oh, so his run for Kenny X actually started with 531. That was actually the official start of his run. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because the previous story was actually Matt Fraction. Yeah, Matt Fraction was the writer of Kenny X-Men. And started with 531. That was the start of Gillen's run. And it lasted, from that point, it was from December 2010, basically 2010, to basically the final issue of the book, of his run, which was issue 22. Actually, issue 20. That was released in 2012, roughly about a couple years. That was mostly put exactly like... Also, they killed... Kieron Gillen said they kill off a character who Matt Fraction created, which was Kate Kildar. Yes. One thing I do appreciate about this book is of how Kieron Gillen developed Mr. Sinister. He did an excellent job developing this one character. You can call this the Mr. Sinister book because this is the one book that basically developed him. Despite like the premise of the book was to focus on the Quiet Council. They were disbanded by issue 13, and most of these last few issues just did with the aftermath of the Hellfire Gala massacre. But in my honest opinion, Kieron Gillen did an excellent job of this book. Yep. Yes, he did. An excellent job. And he should be commended for that. Because this book did not have a bad issue. Unlike, let's say, the main X book, which had Up and Down by Gary Duggan, this book did not. Now, you might be asking, yes, he did X-Men Forever, which came after this, and Rise Power of X. He would be one of the writers for the final issue of Gary Duggan's run for Kenny X-Men, for X-Men Line 6. Yes, but so basically he has like a couple more books that come out. One, of course, is the Wedding Special, which is the issue where you have Mistake finally marrying Destiny. Mm-hmm. So basically just has two miniseries, a one-shot, and a final issue. Nothing been slated yet exactly what he's going to do next, but have reviewed pretty much everything he's done at Marvel. I'd say a majority of it, that is. Can you believe his first comic came out was 2008 with New Universal in 1959? I've not read that book yet, but I have reviewed pretty much a lot of the air stuff he worked on. Yes, I'm looking at basically stuff he worked on. Excuse me. So the only thing left for me to work for, I've read all these books, but review wise, the only other review is World War Hulk, Spider-Man vs. Thor, Generation Hope. You're thinking, okay, is there anything else? Excuse me. His Young X-Men book. That makes 3. Angela, Asgard's Assassin. 1602, Witch Hunter Angela. Siege Volume 2 for Secret Wars. That's 5. I'm not planning on reviewing his Warhammer book, so I'd say overall I have about 5 more series left, but I have reviewed a good majority of his time at Marvel. Yep. But that's going to be pretty much it, particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and tune into this like button. Next up is Remonster, and then one more Comic Corner, and then after that it'll be on to Black Butler. Okay? Next view. Bye.